and we are starting a new week. We've been like in a pit recently of kind of like depression and kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy of boredom and not wanting to do anything. And I'm like, that's enough. I've known the solution for a long time. The solution is do something, but I've not had the energy to do it. So for this week, despite the rain, I'm out for a walk. I look like a turd, but I'm out for my morning walks. I'm going to stick to my morning walks for one, and for two, I'm just going to keep busy. I'm just going to do stuff. Like, I'm not going to sit around and like watch things on my phone or watch TV or YouTube videos. Like, I'm going to reserve that for like 9 o'clock at night. Every other time of the day, I'm going to be actively doing something. So like a cleaning or DIY, and I'm just going to try and like exercise that muscle that's like, be productive. And then productivity is the way out of feeling depressed because you can't do anything. So the solution for not being able to do anything is doing something, you know? Not sitting around going, oh, I wish I could do something. Well, there's lots of things you could do. So I'm starting off the week, we're a lot more peppy, where it's fake pep. I'm currently like revving the engine in first gear. The car's screaming. Hopefully we can work our way up the gears. A lot of it's fake right now, but you fake it till you make it. That's my strat. I'm still working on my earbuds. They're really comfortable. I've currently got the biggest ear tip in. I've gone from the smallest to the biggest. And it feels really comfortable. Like, I can barely feel they're there. But they're a little bit loose, like they could be knocked out. So I feel like maybe the middle one. I'm still working on it. But otherwise, I'm living the dream, boys. I'm living the dream. I'm just getting wet legs, but otherwise, I'm dry as a bone. So Laura's gone to do shopping. I am here. I've just done all the cleaning that we couldn't be bothered to do at the weekend when we were bored shitless. So, like I say, just trying to do things all the time. I wanted to talk though. I've been trying these out. So on the walk, I said, I put the large ones in, large earphones in, worked a treat. Now today, in the evening, they didn't work a treat. So I've switched down to the medium ones because they really start to hurt in one meeting. And I just can't, it's gotta be the big ones, man. I just don't get it. I don't understand how they don't fit with one of them. Like, obviously. So I'm like trying to figure out what, I just don't understand, man. I don't understand. I feel like the tell is, if I was to press a button like this, it really hurts, which means it's probably too far in my ear. So let's try the big one again. I don't know how much of it is, I've got nowhere to put you. I don't know how much of it is just like me not used to this style of headphone. But I went for a walk this evening, what's the word, guys? What's the word? Now look, you see, I feel like the big ones are like, don't go in, like, because they're so big. But then again, that button works. Oh, Google Assistant talks to me. 1 second. So yeah, I've been trying to wear these like, I've been trying to wear them like after work to try and like get used to them again. Because on the walk, they were literally like perfect. See, they won't fall out. Especially that one on the right. I feel like this one could. This one feels looser. I don't fucking know. I don't know. How could it possibly be loose? It's the biggest one. If the middle one hurts. Either way, like, they're much better than my actual headphones for like talking in meetings. I can actually talk in a meeting with these in because it's like piping my own voice back in, and it's like, well, apart from when it hurts. But yeah. I don't know, man. Otherwise, today's been a pretty hectic day. We're coming up to the end of the sprint, and I feel like the end of sprints are always a little bit hectic. But we've got like a bit of an issue going on in one world, which I think I've managed to actually stop, which is pretty good. We wanted to merge something. They were like, oh, do you want, can we merge this? I'm like, when you run it, it creates thousands of dead letters. I feel like the answer is no. But that raised an interesting question about test data. They're dead letters because there's a load of bad test data in the environments, which isn't necessarily our fault, but also I feel like we've got way too many of them. And it like, because of that, we can't generate 17,000 dead letters every day. You know, it's just not something we could do. It's not feasible. But yeah, that's like an instant review. Effectively, like, can I help you? Effectively, like, one of the things I've got to figure out coming up because my comment is about to end, is whether or not I want the difference between being a developer and being an SDET is that I'm pretty good at being a developer. I excel at it. SDET, I don't think I'm excelling at like the overall goal of being an SDET, of like the overarching, here's what SDETs work towards. I don't think I'm making much progress towards those two things. And half of it is because it's all, like, it's really hard for me to figure out what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Firstly, I'm a developer. Secondly, I know how to do, manual QAs will not agree with this. I know how to do manual testing, QA, quality assurance, yeah? And I know how to do automation testing. But SDET isn't any of that. It's like evangelize testing and be a safeguard for quality on the platform. But what does that mean? What does that mean I do? I don't know. I'm like excellent at keeping plates spinning. Hello. Keeping plates spinning, but I just don't know what to do otherwise, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, the question is like, it's definitely more challenging. There's loads of like questions around like, I wouldn't want to be a developer right now because I think I'd just find it boring. And I did find it boring until I sat in the SDET seat. And I think I could carry on being an SDET for a little bit anyway, because like the replacement for the Hive isn't in place yet, and the Hive is looking to be split into two anyway. The cat's trying to climb the fucking banister, what a dickhead. But like, am I good at it? And do I want to be good at it? Lots of developers transition to be testers. Not many transition back, and none of the best ones do. No offense, automation testers or the like. If you were previously a developer, chances are you're not very good. Automation testers fall into like two buckets. They're either ex-testers, and therefore not very good developers, or ex-developers and also not very good developers. You know what I'm saying? Holy smokes, man. Today, basically been in phone calls all morning talking about this thing that like just like this process that I never ran before I became an SDET. All of a sudden I do it all the fucking time. It takes forever. And it's by sheer chance that like we did it for one thing and then it caused a load of issues. And now like we're trying to, they want to sign off a thing, and I'm like, and it creates like 18,000 errors in a test environment. And I'm like, I don't know how you can expect me to sign that off, to be quite frank. Yeah, like if I hand crank some data, like, yeah, the data looks bad, and that's why it's probably erroring. And yeah, if I put one through manually, it's fine, and it looks fine, apart from one thing, which we can risk accept. But like, how do I know there isn't some legitimate stuff being screened out earlier on? Oh God, and it's just like, people are kind of like sat around waiting for me to say yes to it, and I'm like, this isn't a me decision, like this is, like technically there is nothing wrong with this change. But the whole thing throws errors like a motherfucker, and at the end of the day I'm responsible for maintaining the stability of test environments. God damn, but there's so many meetings this morning just going around talking about jack shit. And same again. We did like something else, but then refinement at the end, they're talking about something else, and they spent an hour talking about something and didn't get to a solution. That's the thing I hate the most. I was actually jumping between two refinements at the time because they were both scheduled at the same time, so I was like 5 minutes in one, 5 minutes in the other. And it's like, you've got it. Every time I went back into the room, I'm like, you're still talking about this? Why? But it's Wednesday tomorrow, so it's end of the sprint. For one of the teams, end of the sprint for the other team on Thursday. So I think they want to pull in that ticket, so they have to have a refinement tomorrow because they need to pick it up in planning on Thursday. living the fucking dream. An hour would have been enough, I would have thought, to do that ticket. But apparently not, they didn't even start it. Oh, it drives me mad. Anyway, otherwise, after work, listened to a meetup thing that was about testing REST APIs. I feel like I've seen half of it before. It was pretty boring. And like I say, I remember it. I feel like I remember, like, they'll get deja vu for it. There were definitely some bits I hadn't seen before, but like I'd seen the vast majority of it. So I don't know whether they'd done it to a different audience. That was like a testing meetup. So maybe they amped up the testing aspects of it. I'm not sure. And then had a video call with Beth and Ben. Just have a catch up there. And now we are going to bed. So we have, I don't know where I am at the moment. I'm just kind of walking towards and around green things. That's what I do these days. It's I start work today at 8:30 and not 8, so I've got an extra long hour walk. I'm thinking about, after like conversation with Beth and Ben is like running his own business now, which is really annoying. And like, why you could take that as like depressing. I'm trying to like I say, false productivity. I've been busy basically non-stop except for like an hour of watching TV every night. I want to either be busy or doing something I want to do. They're the two things. And I'm like almost building a after something Ben said, like I'm almost building like a matrix of things I'm not very good at. And things that I should get better at. And figuring out whether or not those things can be bought or I can learn them. That's what I'm currently doing. On my little walkie poo. But tonight is like the first night in a while that I've actually got like time. Obviously Monday and Tuesday I was busy. I haven't really got a set thing to do tonight, so this is going to be the first test of my artificial busyness. Firstly, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this, but I've like put some money into Bitcoin. Way too late. Just like kind of for fun, I transferred my gold into Bitcoin because I bought gold a long time ago. And I've basically transferred my birthday money. So like, Dad sent me some money to go halves with Laura on my Xbox. So basically I bought the Xbox and then I put like that money half into the Xbox and then matched it into Bitcoin. And I'm thinking about, I'm not getting it to like trade it all the time. I want it for like basically how I treated gold, which is like a long-term, don't look at it kind of investment thing. I'm thinking about throwing together a spreadsheet to like actually track that, because it went up quite a lot over the last couple of days, and now it's dipped quite a bit. And I can imagine myself getting like kind of gambly about it. And I was like, oh, I could throw a spreadsheet together to like make it actually like show you the data you actually want to see, rather than like the apps and the websites tell you about. Where the fuck am I? Today I learned how to do, you know when you like click and drag the cell in Excel to do a spreadsheet, and it like changes all the fields dynamically. I figured out how to do that without changing the field, so you can have like a reference cell with the value of a Bitcoin in it, and then drag it down. It's kind of superfluous having the value of a Bitcoin in there because it changes so fucking rapidly. But it's great. So the cat is going fucking batty. Otherwise, today I got on top of my to-do list at work at last. Went through a load of PRs and stuff. I had like a lot of things at the end of yesterday where I just had to like tick some stuff off. I've got to get more of a grasp of like the longer running stuff. But I had the opportunity to test someone. Every now and again I get the opportunity to test some front end stuff, and I can just find so many bugs with that shit. It's so much more fun than testing APIs and like fucking rollbacks and timeouts, and so much better. So much fun. I'm just gonna click this and break it. I found like 5 things. Which is why you can't automate everything, quite frankly. And then otherwise it was like sprint review and sprint retro for one of the teams. Tomorrow we've got sprint planning, sprint retro and review, and planning. Do they do all of that in one day? Like absolute nutters. So tomorrow's like all days, but it's long walk Thursday. Long walk Thursday. And yeah, this evening I've been doing my spreadsheets, been busy. Artificial busyness. That's the spirit. I'm on hashtag long walk Thursday. We have a weird like activity minutes challenge thing at work. And this is like the first week I've actually like fully taken part in it. And today is like my best shot at climbing up the leaderboard a little bit. I think I'm not doing very well at the moment, but can you compete with someone who like just sits on a Peloton bike during a meeting or something? Or, you know, or like a treadmill. You can't compete with that shit. Anyway, I've got like a nice hour and 45-minute walk, potentially. I've still got an hour and 50 minutes before work, because I start later on a Thursday, on a Friday, Thursday. Long walk Thursday. Hashtag long walk Thursday. How can you forget that? But I was walking down there, like this is a big park in Bristol, but I went right around the outside of it and into a bit that like isn't very busy. And there's like a dude, you know when you're like walking along and you look at someone, you're like, you look fishy, like I don't trust you, that kind of thing. And I'm walking along and I'm looking at him, and I've got headphones in, which I'm listening to my earbuds, and I'm like, right, okay, so chances are I don't like you. I feel like you looked at me and now you're dawdling in a space where there's no one else around. And I'm like half prepping myself, for some reason, I don't normally do this, half prepping myself for him to confront me in some way. So I walk past him, he's fine, he's just like picking up leaves or something, you know what I mean? Dodge. And I'm prepping myself, trying to figure out like what my play is, especially because I can't really hear because I'm listening to a podcast. And then there's like a river to the side of me, not this lake thing. I look to my left like that to like kind of look across the river / use my peripheral, and in my peripheral I see a figure coming toward, like running at me. It's just a fucking runner, it's just a jogger, and the dude's still there picking up leaves. But I quite literally nearly shit myself. I was like, oh fuck, I was right, I'm about to like go into defense mode or something. But yeah, it was a but yeah, so I walk for like an hour and a half a day, and there's the person at the top of the leaderboard is like double me, and a lot of people are higher than me still. It's sad times. I think it's because like I convert walks into runs. I don't think that's worth as much. I think that's the truth of it. But anyway, I don't mind, I'd do this anyway. So it's just like, it's the first time I've actually added the data to the leaderboard rather than saying that I am doing more today than I normally would, but probably going to hit my 10,000 steps just on my morning walk. Looking at the time, actually, it is like an hour from here to get back. Is actually a bit tight. Maybe I've gone a bit of a big loop. But I'm going to go at lunchtime because I need to take some post and after work as well. So 2.5 hours. So I should be able to double my current score of 2.5 hours. At the end of the day, I'm going to get smoked to the weekend. So this is my like only attempt to like catch up. Otherwise though, listening to my headphones, it's interesting because this is the first thing like I've bought, I've done a lot of research into. I actually don't like particularly much, but there isn't a better thing out there. So they're like the Jabra 85Ts. The single most important thing to me, which is why there isn't anything better out there at the moment, is that they can connect to my laptop and my phone at the same time, and I don't need to do anything weird like disconnect it. So what I don't want to do is turn them on and they auto connect to my phone for a meeting. They auto connect to my phone and I have to disconnect them from my phone or turn my Bluetooth off. Fuck that noise. Can't be doing with that stress. I just wanted two things. So it's like for meetings at work, they're the most important thing for me. But tip for the wise, noise cancelling in headphones like that. These are apparently, from the reviews, like competing with the best. It's not that great, like at all, and kind of by design as well, because like it tries to vent air in so that you don't get the pressure thing when you're talking and all that kind of shit. But like noise cancelling, the only value in noise cancelling is the ability to pipe your own voice back in when you're talking. That's the only value. But then otherwise they're just so uncomfortable. Like they're actually not bad on this walk, but they either hurt or they feel like they're going to fall out, so you feel like you faff with them all the time. So yeah, I don't mind them, but it's one of those examples of like, I need a feature so much I'm compromising on other features that are like nice to haves, like better Google Assistant integration, more comfortable, like more kind of like appealing to look at, I guess. This is awkward, I need to overtake this person. But yeah, like most important thing is calls, so like mic quality and being able to easily connect it to my computer. I would have had second at like sound quality, but it's actually comfort. But yeah, it's just, but looking at it, I wouldn't swap them for a different one at the moment because none of them do the dual connection thing, except this company, Jabra. It's fascinating. But there's like, Sony are bringing out some more. It's one of those things that I've bought them. They're expensive, they're not cheap. I like worked myself up into buying them, like talked myself into it kind of thing, and kind of like reallocated. So they're like £200, right? And I got birthday money close to that from my family. And that birthday money was to go halves on my Xbox with Laura. So I gave Laura the money for the Xbox. So now I don't have the money. But then in my head I was like, oh, but I got that money. So I can buy my headphones with that money. And then what did I do 2 weeks later? Put that money into Bitcoin. So I've actually spent that money 3 times over now. Good times. But it's because I can afford it. I just trick myself into not. The problem is the past couple of weeks and months I've been spending too consumerism and buying too much shit. Anyway, but being able to like walk without them in when you're in the countryside and just like think, so good. Like having to carry big ones, oh, it's crap. It's crap, man. So I like them, I can recommend them for that feature, but like I wish they were better. Standard. Otherwise, I'm on my walk listening to podcasts and I'm thinking about career progression and what my like strengths and weaknesses are if I was to start a business, and what I can like be proactive about learning, what I need to figure out, like what like I can almost like buy in either through connections or quite literally money, and I'm going to try and chip them down. So that's what I'm like also doing. So I'm not just listening to music, but also today is literally a day of meetings. We've got planning all morning until about 11, I think, with one team, maybe half 11. And then we've got sprint review and sprint retro with the other team, and then planning with the other team as well. Do they plan on Friday? They might plan on Friday morning. We'll see. But yeah, the first set of meetings are going to take a long time because I think they haven't properly finished refining the ticket they want to bring in. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it. So day of meetings, which is why walking now, walking at lunch, walking in the evening. We'll see how it goes. What time is it? I've got an hour from here. Is that good enough? We'll see. But yeah, calls, and the main thing about like only being able to walk like within like 30 minutes, like, well, a 15-minute distance away from your own home, is that like you're on roads and walking. I used to walk all the time without listening to music, but like just can't think next to roads like this. But when you get out in the countryside, it's good to just like be in your own head, you know. So yeah, but here right now it's not. But if you can hear that rush of water, we're coming up to a little waterfall thing. Give it back in that countryside, boys. Lol, countryside, it's literally the middle of Bristol. It's the closest I can get. It's annoying because like the stay local advice means that like we feel bad for going out, which is the reason we haven't. We feel like we can't go out to the countryside, which is not far from us. Like around Bristol there's some really nice like countryside. There's obviously Bath has a lot of countryside as well, but we don't go there because the advice is stay local. Arguably this is local. I'm not more than 30-40 minutes away directly from home if I went straight back. But now I would be because there's a river in the way. But I think I talk about this like every Thursday. But like the problem I have is I enjoy my current job more, but that doesn't mean I'm good at it. I'm good at my other job, but it's boring. Unless like something significant changes. I'm effectively put in a different team. That's also a possibility. But like, it's just not like fast-paced enough, you know? Now there's an argument too. I like my current position because it involves talking to more people. Oh, and also there's a weird caveat that in the future, if I was to move teams, a lot of the teams are all London based, and if I want to go into the office with my team, that wouldn't be possible if I'm in Bristol, you know what I mean? So anyway, the question is, I enjoy this job more, but do I enjoy it for the wrong reasons? Is it because artificially, because I have nearly 4 times as many meetings as a normal person, I'm talking to more people, so that like social aspect of my brain is like kicking in, you know? And is it because I'm 4 times busier, because I've got 4 times the amount of work to do? There's always something for me to be doing. Whereas as a developer, that isn't necessarily the case. Wrongly or rightly. And they're like pushing to like even go slower and do pairing and stuff. And I'm like, you don't do enough work before you start pairing. Fuck me. But long term, I want to start my own business. But like, automation SDETs and automation testers, in my opinion, aren't very good developers. They're either testers who like learn how to like write scripts and don't have like the developer side of their brain, right? Or they're bad developers that can't develop, so they go into that. And like the area of potential learning is less. The value in the things I would learn is arguably less, especially if I want to go back into development or back into running software at my own firm or whatever. I'm already pretty good at testing, like as a skill, as a physical development skill and manual skill, I guess. I'm pretty good at it. So are the things I'm going to learn on top of that adding extra value when Varialis arguably failed because I was too good at the testing part? Well, not too good at the testing part, but I valued something that wasn't valuable to the industry. But if I go back to being a developer, I have to work a lot harder to make it enjoyable, and that probably means shifting brute force the way teams work. And that's what I was feeling like before Christmas. It's what I was feeling like summer last year, and what made me like really miserable. So like honestly, I think the solution is go to a different smaller company or transition my teams to work how teams work in smaller companies, which is, I think, is feasible. But yeah, so like arguably by becoming an SDET, I'm in one of 4 teams instead of one of 14 teams, you know? Because I'm split across a hive instead. So this is however many hives. But yeah, it's annoying because I feel like the job that I enjoy the most is actually one that I'm not necessarily very good at. I'm good at the day-to-day, but not necessarily good at like the overarching, here's what you're aiming for stuff. And B, not good for me in the long term if I was to actually transition to it. So what I'm thinking I'm probably going to try and do is extend my secondment. And I think they're going to be in a good place for that anyway, because they're doubling the hive. And if I leave, there'll be a brief period of time, if I go back to a developer, there'll be a brief period of time where we don't have an SDET. And then we'll be going back to a brand new SDET for 4 teams. They'd have to hire another one because they can't hire SDETs because the role is so weird. It's not QA, it's not manual, it's not developer, it's such a like weird hybrid. But anyway, I've rambled way too much, I apologise. But that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about my own personal, like what I want to learn outside of work in my like fake productivity. That's what I'm doing. Actually, the things I just said about the things I can learn, potentially as an SDET, there's more scope for me to actually learn things that are new. Whereas like for the last 9 months as a developer, I didn't really feel challenged. So was I learning something? Probably not. So maybe that's like a false dichotomy. Like I can learn more as an SDET than I can as a developer. So the value of the thing, it can be cheaper because I'm actually learning something. The value of the thing I'm learning is higher by volume rather than by price per unit of learning, I guess. I think I definitely want to extend it. The problem is that, like, for the last couple of months, it's very muddy, one of the teams has like only just hit the ground running as my secondment's ending, and the other team has also been like kind of marred, but now they're kind of like getting into a rhythm a bit more. I think now this next 3 months is going to be more representative of what SDETing actually is. So I think that's my like logical reasoning behind doing it, but I need to get better at finding the time to talk to the actual SDET manager, who doesn't talk to me. He doesn't talk to anyone though, and try and figure out like what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I know high level like the goals, but like on a day, and I know the day-to-day basis, but I just don't know how you skewer that, you know, how you like do that. Look at this goddamn sky, boys. It's bloody gorgeous. It's lunchtime. I've just walked to drop off a package at a FPS drop-off point because there's an Xbox controller. The controller's broken. The like triggers are really sticky, which makes it basically impossible to play like a racing game, because you just like accelerate, you let go, and it's like still accelerating for like 2-3 seconds depending on how long you've had it held down for, you know. But otherwise, so far today, one team's planning and refinement done. That's my old team. Their like strategy of slowing down is really would drive me mad if I was to go back, because like they've literally committed to, I think, 5 points, new points this sprint. Oh god, it kills me. But thankfully I'm not a developer. That's what I mean about like being bloody bored off my tits if I was. So I'm out. I went for my walk at lunchtime. Now is my walk in the evening. Laura like calls her parents tonight. They normally do a quiz, but just calling her parents tonight. So we had dinner and then I'm walking. Turns out if you convert a walk into a run, so I did a 1 hour 40 something minute walk this morning. I converted it to a run and it turned it into a 1 hour 10 run. And it turns out that if you convert a walk into a run, it gives you a 30% haircut on the amount of time that you spend doing the activity, which is interesting. The most interesting thing is it still keeps the same like distance. So it's something like 7.3 miles or something. So my walking pace was 13-minute miles. It converted it into 7.3 miles at a 9 mile a minute pace. No, 9 minute a mile pace. Doesn't make any sense. However, if you convert it to a bike ride, it keeps the distance, keeps the time, keeps the speed. And I went from 8th to 2nd. And I'm fucking gonna win, boys. Same person has won every single week for the last 3 weeks. And in the last week of February, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna be reigning champion. I've looked through his like history. He does walks and converts them to runs, so hopefully he doesn't figure out what I figured out. Otherwise I've got no chance he's going to smoke me. Otherwise today, meetings galore, and it's annoying because like there was arguably like maybe 2 hours of non-meetings, but when you've built yourself up for a day of meetings, like 40 minutes in between meetings is worthless, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. Another news, based on the amount of work that they've prioritised, I think I'm going to extend my secondment at the least once, and it gives me a bit more time to think about whether or not I want to stay in that role. But yeah, otherwise I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm in a good mood. This is 40 minutes walk so far. He's an hour and a half ahead of me, so he's now 45 minutes ahead of me. Yeah, so my chances of winning pretty slim, but I want to have a bit of an upset, you know what I'm saying? Like same guy's been at the top every single week. I want to upset, but it's going to mean a lot of walking this weekend. I'm going to run out of places to walk. I don't even know why I'm here, because I've walked everywhere else. So I'm going to book back now though. Be about an hour and a half, hour and 10 minutes. Must be 20 minutes behind. We did good to catch up. When I got back yesterday, I was 20 minutes behind. And when I woke up this morning, I was nearly 2 hours behind. It's very difficult to compete with someone who can just like do a 30-minute yoga session with a Peloton or an Apple Watch. I think it's an Apple Watch actually. Yeah, you're okay, Moo. So that's one thing. I'm currently 1.5 hours behind. I'm at 10 hours, he's at 11.5. Someone is just behind me with like 3 minutes behind me. So it's hotting up for the weekend. I'm trying to figure out how much I want to compete. We'll see. Otherwise, Fridays are Fridays. So I'm really bad at Fridays. I've been walking so much. Done 3-hour-long walks more or less today. Like between 45 minutes and an hour. And I'm still 1.5 hours behind. We'll see how it goes, basically. You okay, Mr. Moo Moo? You okay, Mr. Moo Moo? You are, aren't you? Yeah, boy. Yeah, Jimmy. Why are you still awake? Laura's already gone to bed. So, I've decided I've got nothing better to do with my weekend than try and win this activity thing. So I left the house this morning 2 hours behind first place. Third place was about 5 minutes behind me in second place. So it's tight, it's hotting up at the top. What am I doing to get around that? 3 walks today. Firstly, I'm walking to Sainsbury's. I need to pick up some food. There is a Sainsbury's like 20-minute walk away from my house. Not good enough. 1:20. This is the one we drive to do our like weekly shop. So I'm walking there, I'm gonna pick up some wormer for the cat and then some bacon stuff. Gonna go back home. We had Chinese takeaway last night, so we've got Chinese takeaway leftovers for lunch. And then we're walking out to go and get a washing line, because our washing line broke. And then this evening, go for another walk. Now that should, like, a 40-minute hour walk, something this evening. So that should, like, in total, come to about 4 hours, which should keep me in touching distance of a last-minute sprint to win. What do we get for winning? Fuck all. But I've got nothing better to do. What else am I gonna do? Sit inside and play Xbox or something. So instead, I'm out, I'm walking, I'm getting fit, and I'm gonna fucking trounce this noob. I'm aiming for an average of about 5 hours a day. 4 today, 6 tomorrow is the aim. Last week, the winner had 17 hours in total. That should push me to 20 hours. So that's like, I've got to be so comfortably far ahead that they can't just beat me in the evening, you know what I mean? So I've either got to like comfortably push ahead or sneak up on them on Sunday, where I just do like one big old slam dunker. But yeah, I'm hoping today will effectively keep me second or third, but close enough so that I don't have to walk for 8 hours on Sunday. That's the aim of the game. Otherwise, the annoying thing is, when I left the house this morning, it was 2 degrees. It's heating up now to about 7. It's gonna be quite hot on the way back. So I'm like wearing a summer coat, but I'm already hot in the sun, so I might have to find a different route back. This is the scenic route though. I could go a more direct route back, which would be in theory cooler, but scenic route is a fucking motorway there. But as much as I'm like kind of sick of listening to podcasts and stuff, I need to have more like me time and thinking time, which is why I've not brought my big headphones. I brought my little ones, and I'm just thinking to myself as I walk around, pros and cons, plannings, you know how it goes. But this is also an extension of the thing I was talking about at the beginning of this video, which is fake productivity. If I'm busy and I'm doing things, that things don't have to be valuable. I trick my own brain into thinking I'm doing stuff. I started the week off, if you remember, the beginning of this really long video. I was bullying myself because I wasn't doing anything. I was just bored. I wasn't doing anything. And I wasn't doing anything because I couldn't find anything I could do that I would give value to. So I wanted to be productive and I wasn't being productive. Because I wasn't being productive, I was feeling shitter and it was more likely I wouldn't be productive. This artificial productivity line I'm going for is all about like being busy. So I stop bullying myself for doing nothing, and instead I just convert the things I'm doing into things of value rather than going from zero to value. That's the plan. Half of the problem I'm having here though is all of the like hour-and-a-half walks on Google I'm doing in about an hour because I'm too fast. But my brain's wired because I'm obsessed with productivity. I think I want to go through there, do I? No, that'll be fun. I'm obsessed with productivity. Is like trying to, like going slowly fucks me off. You know, I'm like thinking, oh, I could do this walk, but I could go on my longboard and then it won't take me as much time. But this is activity minutes. It pays to be slower. It's not distance, in which case it pays to be quicker. Oh, well, there is also a distance thing, but that's like, there's three things. There's like longest activity, and there's longest total distance, which I'm just going to get smoked by cyclists. There's no point even aiming for that. But I think I'm easily the longest walker. Like everyone else is doing like yoga and shit, which is why I either need a comfortable lead or the ability to pounce from a distance, because these people will do just 45 minutes of yoga in the evening at 10 o'clock at night, you know what I mean? I can't compete with that. I need to be clear by 10 o'clock. But knowing that I can bait them into that, that's almost a victory in itself, you know what I mean? If you're logging yoga after 10 o'clock at night and you haven't normally for the rest of the week, then I've won. I don't care. It's a shame places like this are so far away from town. It's so quiet and lovely. And you could like, I bet it's expensive around here, but like you could get way more for your money. But like this is literally as the furthest edge of Bristol you can get before you start getting into the like boundaries of other places, you know what I mean? But like I'd love to live around here if it was easy to get into town, and it's just not. God damn it, you have to drive, and Bristol's not a drive-in city. I just saw a house for sale. A for sale sign. It's $500,000, which is the price range we'd look at if we were buying another one, if we were to upgrade. Well, it's the price I'm looking at. But I'd prefer it. I'd prefer effectively like a house not much bigger than ours, but in near town, you know? Yeah, I'd prefer a better location over size. Laura would prefer size and a garden. But I mean, like, your walking distance is the same place, mate. Not bad. Not bad. It's just town, that's the only downside. But this is officially South Gloucester. Right, lovely place to live, mate. Double garage, 4 beds. They're lovely. Very expensive, but lovely. I love saying figures like $500,000 as well. It makes it sound bigger than it is, you know. Yesterday I went for a Cafe Nero and couldn't get one. Maybe I'm gonna have to get hot chocolate to walk back with. So I'm like 2 hours into this walk now, and I just checked the leaderboards. And it looks like everyone takes it very seriously at the weekend. This is what I was saying about like the weekend will come and I'll probably get smoked, because like I do more stuff in the week when I'm commuting, quote unquote, to work. But yeah, so everyone's doing like hour-and-a-half walk. In the week, an hour-and-a-half walk is a lot, you know? That's enough to bump you up a lot of ranks. But you've got like people jumping 2 hours at a time, so it's a good job I did this, otherwise I'd be fucking cooked by now. Yeah, it looks like this is going to be about 2.5 hours all in, and then we'll have to do more later. Fucking busy on this path, isn't it? Jesus. Monty wants to go outside. He's not allowed because he went outside earlier. We like, because our washing line's broken. He's got nowhere to like sit. You can't tie his lead to anything. I've ordered him a longer lead. But like we tried to, Laura went out earlier to some gardening. Couldn't like hold on to him while she was obviously gardening at the same time. And then he like got to the end of his line and then like kind of freaked. So, and he's now all day like he just was like, please let me outside. It's just my house. He wants to go outside. He's not allowed. He doesn't go anywhere near the front door anymore unless you're like holding him. Obviously then you walk up to it. but like he's scared of the front door because it sprays him with water. The back door is going to have to become the same thing, and then he can go outside with a lead, and then we'll just see. We'll work from there basically. And if like it turns out that like kind of giving him access to the outside makes him more miserable when he's not outside, then we'll just have to nip it in the bud. You're a house cat, Moo Moo. You are not allowed out. He's moved over so we can get a better look. But he's just whinging. Tough shit, Moo Moo. Tough fucking shit. Yeah, when I was out earlier on my mega walk, Laura was getting quite stressed because he was like trying to get out and whatnot. I'm a lot more tough love than she is. So Slippers, I'm going to play Xbox for a little bit, and then we're either going to do some baking or I'm going to play do some programming upstairs, and then dinner, and then another walk this evening. I'm currently half an hour behind, but I'm 2 hours clear of the person behind me. So like we are both, me and the top guy are at 13 hours and 12 and a half hours. So I closed the 2 hour gap. We'll see if what I feel like doing after dinner tonight. And hopefully I can have a sub 1 hour gap going into tomorrow. That's the ideal. So guys, I'm currently in the lead by 5 minutes. I'm beating the guy I was like jockeying for the lead for by half an hour, and someone else has come from nowhere with a 5 hour walk. It's stressful. I don't actually think, move minutes on Google Fit, I've got 230 minutes. So basically a solid 4 hours, which makes sense because I started the day at just short of 10 hours. I'm at 13 and a half-ish now. So, and it would track obviously more move minutes than I would track in an actual thing. So my target of being within an hour is good. Like I say, now we can do a bit of a pounce. Otherwise though, I'm actually fucking pooped. Spent a bit of the afternoon, played like, well no, we got a rotary washing line. That's exciting. Installed that. Otherwise played about like half an hour, made a little half hour of Xbox, and then I've been looking at progressive web apps in Blazor for funsies, which is interesting. First bit of code I've written in a long time, so outside of work. So see how that goes. But it's bedtime. I'm not particularly tired, I'm just drained. Got to get up tomorrow, and so 13 and a half hours of activity so far. Last week, to win, you need 17 hours or 18 hours. I think it's 16 something, so it's 17 hours to win. So I need to do another 3.5 minimum tomorrow. God damn, boy. I'm capitalising on a really cold morning. Yesterday was so fucking hot. It was like 8 degrees, can you believe? Like in the sun it was baking. I also haven't showered yet. I like brushed my teeth and left the house because my alarm normally goes off between 6 and 7, and it didn't go off today until 7 o'clock. Normally goes off on the dot at 6. So I was like, oh, I need to go out, try and make the most of this while it's cool, and then I can go out again later. I still woke up in the lead. I just want to try and cement that lead a little bit while it's cold so that I don't have to do as big a walk later. We'll see. And like when it's dark, you can't go through like all of the, like here will be pitch black when I'm going to be walking later. So I don't want to walk around the streets for 5 hours if I can walk around some nice parks for 2 to 3 hours beforehand, you know. But yeah, I'm just still podcasting. Running out of podcasts actually, surprisingly. I had a bit of a backlog, but I've just kind of blown through it. Yeah. My plan is to try and like get to the point where finish this walk, go home, have breakfast, have a shower, relax for the day. I just want to relax until later, and then we'll see. Probably do some programming, maybe play some Xbox. Again, artificial productivity. Basically, I want to be doing what I want to do. And at the moment, I want to play around with Blazor and progressive web apps. So that's what I'm doing. Even getting as far as to think that I want to spend time doing some development today is such a huge bonus. Last week I wouldn't have even like thought I wanted to, let alone wanted to, you know. The key things I need to do, I need to figure out, I need to stop myself from trying to over-engineer. So the two pitfalls I fall into is A, wanting to build something that I think is valuable. That's not necessarily true. So I've been trying to build things that I think will add value to me in the future in some way. Like, for example, a CDN. It costs money to pay for a CDN, so if I like build one, maybe I don't have to compromise on the features it has, and secondly, it'll save me some money. That's kind of a flawed process, really, because I can't build a CDN as good as an actual CDN company can, you know. So the actual like lifetime cost is way more than that, and also I'm not necessarily interested in the CDNs, so why am I going to be like enthused about building one? Value. And then otherwise, like over engineering it and like thinking it has to be brilliant and like almost sellable, you know. There's no reason why I can't just hack together something. So at the moment I'm literally hacking together a shopping list app thing, progressive web app thing, that I'm going to highly specifically target at the Google Pixel 4a, which is the phone me and Laura have. And I'm going to target it at doing all of the things I wish other shopping list apps did, and I'm going to use that to like learn other things. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I can hack it together. I can initially start it off with just like an in-memory list, then move it to a database where me and Laura can both share the shit, you know. I'm just thinking like the two things, the thing I've always wanted is a shopping list app that has the items in the order of the shop itself, you know. Like, so as I go around and tick it in the shop, I want it to remember the order I ticked it and show it to me in that order, because that's the order I pick it up in. And I want it to do that, but then also like things like recognize when I say 6 apples, it saves it as apples times 6, or 200 grams butter. It knows the amount and the item. So if I add butter, it adds it to the same place it would add 200 grams butter. But do that like as free text rather than click on it, edit, amount, etc. But the reason that's important is I want to be able to, I want to learn how I can build apps, or I guess programs, algorithms that can like identify things in plain text. Now obviously there's a way of like just regexing that shit out, but like if I could use some machine learning model to pick out the name of the product and things like that, then that will in theory help me with another idea I'm thinking of that potentially will have value in the future. So it's like I'm learning something that could give me value rather than the thing I'm doing itself needing value. And the like trick I'm doing is I'm building something I actually want, you know. And I've just got to try not to get frustrated trying to over-engineer it or make the UI perfect, because all I need to do is make it good enough for me and Laura. Arguably I'm the most perfectionist of people, so but make it for Laura then, you know. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I want to do with like my day or afternoon. I'm feeling a lot happier than I was last week, which is good, because the weekend is, I normally slump. I don't know whether to whether the walks are this or just like in general, but weekends are usually like the hardest time for me. It's normally Wednesday, Friday and the weekend, and this week it was Friday, so that's not bad, is it? You know, yesterday what I was saying about like wanting to buy a house and like the compromises you make when you buy a house. Like our house was actually quite a lot of pretty big compromises. There were a lot of things like downstairs bathroom, compromise, old house, compromise, distance from town, compromise, it's already a bit too far out. lack of parking. I don't think we saw that as a compromise, but it's one heck of a compromise. But these houses here on the opposite side of the river, fuck me, I'd pay a lot of money. That's like my dream, to have like a nice house in effectively the countryside. I think this road gets quite busy, but like in effectively the countryside on some water. I love water, you know, love it. I'd love to have a garden where like at the bottom of it there's just a river or a stream or something. It'd be ideal, man. But and close to like places like this. Compromises, distance from supermarkets. It's pretty close to town, to be fair. It's not too far out, but it's a lot closer than we are. But god damn, they must be expensive. That's all. So it's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm expecting Laura to be like up at 9 or just gone 9. She'll get out of bed and want food. I'm thinking, can I go this park, down the park at the end, through the other park and then up there rather than through the 2 parks? I'm trying to go places I won't go tonight, and while it's cold I can walk a lot further, to be honest. I hate hot weather, it's shit. Right, so I've been thinking about my little to-do list app, my little shopping list app, and I'm now going to be thinking about SDET developer, life goals, job goals, career goals. Let's think about that. So I think I've decided, I like logicked it out, walked it through in my head. There is effectively no downside to me extending my secondment as an SDET. It's like basically zero downside, assuming they want me to, right? Or I think the only thing I'd look for is extending it, like not only just adding another 3 months, but like potentially getting like 6 months to get enough time for it to feel like a long time and feel like long enough to do some of the long-term stuff. I think if it's only 3 months, it's easy to get distracted by like the short-term goals, and I want to do the more long-term stuff. I effectively see no like downside to that at all. The interesting question would be if they say, we can't second you again, but you can be an SDET if you want to be one, and I could transfer myself from a developer to an SDET. I think that's when you enter a world of more interesting compromises. But having talked them through in my head now, I don't think any of those compromises would hurt me. There will be compromises, like it's a dint, it's like a little like stumble, you know. But I don't think like in the long term that stumble will like matter particularly for the short-term benefits of being able to be an SDET for the next 6 months. So I think I've decided that as well. God damn, this is a great walk. I'm loving this. Yeah, I think the only area where there becomes a potential downside is if I officially move to an SDET, and then you enter the world of, will I ever be able to make it back to developer? And the answer is probably yes. And also the question should probably be, would I want to? And if I would want to, where would that be? In theory I could second back at my current place, or like would I want to move to a different company to be a developer? And if I did, would it hurt me? You know? But I think once you like add all of those questions together, I think the answer is no. So I think we're fine. Cool. Fucking hell, mate, living the dream, boys. I'm walking towards one more park now. I'm gonna walk around that park and then up home. Should get back for about 9:30. I think I'm still winning. I'm still 4 or 5 minutes ahead of the next best person. So in theory, unless someone else is also on a walk, that should give me a 2.5 hour lead, which is good enough for me to rest up my little feetsies, put my comfies on and relax all day until I go back out for another walk later. I also figure out like I've nailed these a bit more. I kind of know how they go in. They feel loose. I still don't think they're perfect. They don't feel like, they either feel too tight or they feel loose. So arguably they're never really comfortable. But I've like figured it out where the way you put it in, when you press the buttons, you almost like push up, so it's not going into your ear. just kind of dob it like that on like this bit of your ear, you know? It's definitely worth wearing over. It just takes like a little bit of fiddling when you're on a walk, but they're definitely better for calls, and they're better for walking when I want to take them out and talk out loud to myself like an absolute psychopath. So that's way too far for you. You see that big orange light? That's the moon. That looks sick. There's also some people on the park there, and I have my tactical torch. I'm contemplating just scanning a light over them. I promised Laura I wouldn't go anywhere weird and dark, but I brought my torch. There's a big old green thing on a pole. What's that? No idea. It's literally just a pole with a green light on the top. Like, I'm assuming the light is to like warn aircraft, low-flying aircraft, but it doesn't look like it's got any other purpose other than that. Maybe this hill is particularly tall? I don't know. Let's Google it. Commemorates the persecution of the Baptist community in the 1600s. What? Okay. It was pretty modern for that, but fucking crazy. Anyway, I'm glad I brought my torch. So I've seen that in the sky, like when I've been walking around on these stupid walks. I always wondered. Now I know. So learn something new. I hate the fact that I've been baited into doing this, but yeah, it's like 8 o'clock. I've still got to be an hour out. Before I left, I was about 30 minutes behind the guy at the top, who's on 16.5 hours. I was on basically 16 hours, pretty close, both of us. So after dinner, I'm going for a 2-hour traipse around town. Walking around a load of places I've never walked before. It's just because I've run out of places to walk. Run out of music to listen to, run out of podcasts to listen to. But this is what they've reduced me to now. Less than ideal, it's got to be said. But yeah, I've totally run out. And it's amazing how much you can actually fit into a hour and 30, hour and 40 odd walk. This walk this morning was only like an hour and 40. But yeah, I'm glad I did that, otherwise I'd be fucked by now. Enjoyed my, this today, baked a cherry bakewell with no cherries, just bakewell, it's just a bakewell tart. I didn't realise cherry bakewell tart was something different. It's really hard, I haven't tasted it yet, we'll see, it needed time to set. Otherwise, I haven't done anything else. It literally took the majority of the day. We trained Monty a little bit outside in the garden with his lead. We struggled, I said, didn't I, yesterday, like we're struggling to almost strike the balance between him being a house cat with access to the outside without him like just being annoyed because he can't go out all the time. Where am I? I recognise that road. Oh, fucking sweet. I know where I am. Nailed it, boys. But yeah, so stupid things like making sure he doesn't try to leave the back door on his own by spraying water at him whenever he tries, and then like only you put his lead on away from the door, you pick him up away from the door and carry him out so he doesn't think he can just go to the door and get out. It's fun stuff. Obviously it's one thing saying it and one thing doing it, but like this thing has kind of proved to me that I could do an average of like 4 to 5 hours active minutes a day if I wanted to, if I like tried. And by tried I mean like actively, like really pushed myself. But yeah, crazy moon. Oh, I certainly showed you that, didn't I? Crazy moon out earlier. It's gone now. It's just a normal moon. Nailed it, boys. We've got the person I was going toe to toe with putting in some last minute 45-minute yoga sessions. It's not good enough, buddy. So I'm first with 17 hours and 45 minutes. Second place, 16 hours, 21 minutes. He basically appeared out of fucking nowhere this weekend, just walking miles. Lunatic. And the person I've been going toe to toe with, 16 hours, 9 minutes. Pathetic. And then it says like 17 and 3/4, 16 and a half, 16, 15, 10. 10, 8. Also, there's my bakewell. But it's bedtime. Work tomorrow. Laura's working in a new team tomorrow. So excited. Shopping. That's about it. Exciting. Now I've got some exciting stuff to like get stuck into at work, which is fun. But it's bedtime. I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you very much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a long one. I'll catch you later.